Welcome to a new video from the Parts channel. Well, I'm going to make a short video, but that I find very interesting, answering several questions that you have left me about whether it is advisable to remove the swirl flaps from the intake manifolds in the BMW diesel E39 for E46 for X5 for E60. My advice is that you remove them. The function of the swirl flaps is to create turbulence inside the intake manifold. What these turbulences do is cause the air to rotate, and then the mixture of air with fuel is more homogeneous. This will be noticed especially at idle and at low revs, but it is barely noticeable. That is, you will barely notice it. But the problem that if you leave them on and some swirl flaps comes off, although they are the ones that were reinforced in the BMW E60 or in the X5, and some more, they came reinforced, we have seen them folded in some cases. In other cases, we have seen those same swirl flaps, which had also broken and had fallen into the cylinder. That is, goodbye to the engine, because the breakdown is very expensive. The breakdown that causes this, in some cases, not even from the swirl flaps, but the rubber that covers the wing nut, which had remained between the valve and the valve seat, and did not close the valve properly, and in some cases the piston even hit the valve. Look, here they brought us an E63,000 diesel. Because the engine was sweating, this is due to deterioration of the gaskets, and the owner of the car told us to change them, and we bought the kit to change them. Here we have the intake manifold with the swirl flaps. As I said before, in addition to the swirl flaps, here the problem is, even with that rubber coating itself, which is very hard and thick, all the swirl flaps are missing pieces of that coating. There we are already playing with fire. There the serious problems can begin. Look here, this last swirl flaps, I am going to turn it over. Now you will see that it is also missing a fairly thick piece. Look, that thick piece can seriously damage the engine. It is a very hard rubber, so you can see that it does not. It is not only the swirl flaps itself, but also the swirl flaps protector itself. That is why it is advisable to remove them, to avoid greater problems. We are talking about breakdowns worth thousands of euros. Well, here they are already changed. There is no mystery in changing them. Here it is. What we have done is to clean the intake manifold and install this replacement kit, and thus we take away those problems from the owner. We have tested the car before removing them, before installing this kit with the swirl flaps that it had, and then with this kit on, and I'm telling you, you don't notice anything at all, and the owner can now be calmer, so my advice is to remove them. There are those who say that, well, the best thing is to have an original collector, and with the swirl flaps. But of course, in that case, you would have to buy it complete, I would say, every 100,000 kilometers, because that is when all these problems can start to occur. Every 100,000 kilometers put a new intake manifold. But of course, we are speaking of spending a lot of money. Well, here you have this short video. If it has been useful to you, then don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel.